Your entryway is the handshake of your home, and most people get it completely wrong. It's the first thing guests see, the last thing you pass before you leave each morning. And yet somehow, it's the room most people mess up. After years of studying what works and what does not in entryways from California to Florida, I have noticed something fascinating. The mistakes people make here are not random. They are predictable. They follow patterns. And the worst part? Most of these mistakes started as trends. Trends that someone on Pinterest or Instagram promised would make your space look elevated. Today, I am going to walk you through the entryway trends that are already dead in 2026, plus the emerging wallpaper trend that is replacing basic paint, and more importantly, what to do instead. Some of these might surprise you. Let's get into it. The overused round mirror. Walk into almost any home built or decorated between 2018 and 2024, and you'll see the same mirror. A large round mirror, usually with a thin brass or black frame hanging above a console table. As one interior designer puts it, the round mirror above the console became so ubiquitous that it now reads as the design equivalent of a participation trophy. It's not bad, it's just nothing. It tells guests absolutely zero about who lives in this home. Round mirrors exploded because they're genuinely useful. They soften the hard angles of most entryways and create a sense of flow. But when millions of people buy the exact same shape, in the exact same finish, with the exact same positioning, the trend loses all meaning. In homes from Texas to Georgia, I've seen this identical setup repeated so many times it's become wallpaper. If you want that softening effect without looking like everyone else, consider irregular or asymmetrical shapes. The trend for 2026 is moving toward organic, sculptural mirrors that almost read as art. Arched mirrors are also having a moment and feel more timeless than the basic circle. Or go the opposite direction and embrace a dramatic rectangular vintage mirror with some actual character. Window pane mirrors are also coming back, especially in homes going for a European or farmhouse adjacent vibe. The key is intention. Choose a mirror shape because it fits your entryway's architecture, not because it was the most popular item on a furniture website. The too small entryway rug. This is the entryway equivalent of wearing pants 2 sizes too small. A tiny rug floating in the middle of your foyer, clearly not relating to anything around it. It's uncomfortable to look at, and it makes the space feel cheaper than it should. People underestimate rug sizes constantly. A 2x3 or 3x5 sounds generous until you see it on the floor and realize it looks like an afterthought. As one design expert famously put it, America has been suffering from too small rug syndrome for decades. The mistake is compounded in entryways because this high traffic zone actually needs a larger rug to function properly. Your entryway rug should be at least as wide as your door, preferably wider. For a square foyer, consider a 4x6 or even a 5x7 depending on your space. A good rule of thumb is to leave 12 to 24 inches of floor visible between the rug and the walls. If you have a long hallway entry, a runner typically 2.5 feet wide and anywhere from 7 to 12 feet long, creates that visual runway effect that guides people into your home. The rug should feel intentional, like it was designed for the space, not dropped randomly in the middle of the floor. And here's a practical consideration. Entryways see a lot of abuse. Dirt, moisture, shoes. Choose a material that can handle it. Low-pile flat weaves, indoor-outdoor styles, or natural fibers like jute work beautifully and are much more forgiving than high-pile options. You know the one, that round dome-shaped flush mount that's hanging in virtually every builder-grade home across the country. Industry professionals affectionately call them boob lights. They're cheap, they're generic, and they instantly make your entryway feel like it came straight from a model home that hasn't been updated since 2005. The reason builders use them is simple economics. These fixtures cost between $13 and $16 when purchased in bulk. For builders constructing dozens of homes, that adds up. But for you, living in that home, they're an eyesore that broadcasts one thing. No one cared about this space. Swapping out a flush mount light is one of the easiest, most affordable upgrades you can make. It takes about 30 minutes and immediately transforms the space. For low ceilings, look for stylish flush mounts with interesting shapes, textures like rattan or linen, or mixed materials like brass and milk glass. Semi-flush mounts work beautifully if you have 9-foot ceilings or higher, and they drop just enough to create some visual interest without getting in anyone's way. For narrow entryways, consider wall sconces instead of overhead lighting. They free up ceiling space while providing warm ambient light that's perfect for tight foyers. Budget around $40 to $200 for something that actually looks designed rather than defaulted. If your entryway can handle it, a statement pendant or even a small chandelier can completely change the personality of the space. This is the room where you make a first impression. Why let a $15 light fixture tell that story? If you're finding this useful, hit that like button. It really helps the channel, and we're only just getting started. There are 6 more trends we need to talk about. The cluttered gallery wall. Gallery walls aren't dead, but the chaotic Pinterest board approach where every inch of wall is covered with mismatched frames, random prints, and pieces that have no relationship to each other, that's very much dead. As one high-end interior designer puts it, gallery walls have become somewhat expected and can border on visual clutter when not executed with extreme discipline. In an entryway, you're asking people to process this wall in about 3 seconds as they walk through. When there's no cohesion, no color story, no intentional spacing, it just feels chaotic. The eye doesn't know where to land, and instead of feeling curated, it feels like you ran out of storage and started nailing things to the wall. If your entryway doubles as a mudroom, the visual chaos becomes even more problematic when you're trying to balance function with style. For 2026, the movement is towards statement pieces over scatter. One larger piece of art creates more impact than 15 small ones. If you love the collected look of a gallery wall, the key is discipline. Keep your frame finishes cohesive, even if the styles vary. Stick to a consistent color temperature in the photos or artwork, and leave enough breathing room between pieces that each one can be appreciated individually. An emerging approach is mixing art with dimensional objects like plates, mirrors, or sculptural pieces, but doing it with restraint. 3 or 4 carefully chosen items will always beat 20 random ones. The wrong size console table. Console tables are the workhorse of entryway furniture, but I see 2 mistakes constantly. Either the console is too small, looking like it wandered in from a different room and is not quite sure where it belongs, or it is too deep and too bulky, blocking the natural flow of the space and making your entryway feel cramped. Here is what actually works. A console table should cover roughly 2/3 of the wall it sits against. If your wall is 72 inches wide, you are looking at a console around 48 inches. For entryways, depth is critical. Most hallways need tables between 12 and 16 inches deep. Go deeper than 18 inches and you will start to encroach on your walkway. Standard console height is 30 to 36 inches, with 32 to 34 being the sweet spot for most entryways. Before you buy anything, measure your space obsessively. You want at least 36 inches of clear walkway in a hall. If you have a narrow entryway in a New York apartment or a tight foyer in a Phoenix townhouse, consider a demi-lune console. That is the half-moon shape, which offers some surface area without the rectangular depth. Alternatively, a shoe bench or storage ottoman can provide seating while doubling as storage for boots and bags. For small spaces, floating shelves can serve the same function as a console without the visual weight. And if your console table currently blocks access to a light switch, electrical panel, or closet door, it is in the wrong place. I have actually seen this more times than I can count. The all-white entryway. For years, the advice was to paint entryways white because it makes small spaces feel bigger. But here's the dirty secret about all-white entries. They show everything. Every scuff from shoes being pulled on and off, every fingerprint from kids grabbing the wall for balance, every scratch from wrestling with leashes and strollers. Design experts are now recommending warmer, more forgiving colors for high-utility spaces like entryways. Chocolate browns, emerald greens, deep terracottas, even charcoal grays are all gaining traction. These colors hide wear better, create a more welcoming atmosphere, and feel more current than the cold white aesthetic that dominated the 2010s. The biggest trend for 2026: bold wallpaper in entryways. Dramatic florals, geometric patterns, or textured grass cloth are replacing basic paint entirely in high-end homes. If you're not ready for dramatic wallpaper or color, try a warm white like Benjamin Moore's White Dove or Sherwin-Williams Alabaster SW7008, which have enough warmth to feel intentional rather than builder grade. But honestly, the entryway is a small space. If you've been curious about trying a bolder treatment anywhere in your home, this is the lowest risk place to experiment. You can repaint or re-wallpaper it in a weekend if you change your mind. Quick question for the comments: what entryway mistake have you seen the most? I read every single comment, and I'm genuinely curious what trends you've noticed in homes around your area. Plants that are obviously fake. I'm not anti-faux greenery. Good quality artificial plants have come a long way, and for a dark corner with zero natural light, they can make sense. But the cheap, shiny, obviously plastic plants that fill so many entryways, they communicate the opposite of what you want in a first impression space. Faux plants are supposed to bring life to a room, but when they're clearly artificial, they do the opposite. They make the space feel dead, staged, like a model home that's trying to seem lived in, but failing. If you want greenery in your entryway, start by assessing your light conditions. North-facing entries in states like Illinois or Pennsylvania can support pothos, snake plants, or ZZ plants, which thrive in low light. If you must go faux, invest in quality. Good artificial stems can run $50 to $100, but the texture and color read is real. Mix them with dried botanicals or preserved eucalyptus for a more natural appearance. The moment someone looks at your plant and immediately knows it's fake, you've lost the effect entirely. This one is mostly relevant if you are building or buying. For decades, the grand two-story foyer was the aspirational entryway. Think sweeping staircases, dramatic chandeliers, enough vertical space to echo. But in 2026, this trend is officially on the decline. The practical issues are real. Two-story foyers are notoriously difficult to heat and cool efficiently, especially in climates like Florida or Texas, where you are fighting temperature extremes. They can feel more imposing than welcoming. And as design culture shifts toward authenticity and down-to-earth living, these grand gestures are starting to feel dated. If you already have a two-story foyer, you do not need to tear it out. But you can make it feel more contemporary by adding visual elements that break up the height. Mezzanine shelving, decorative partitions, or even ceiling fans can help regulate both the temperature and the proportions. The goal is to make the space feel intentional and welcoming rather than just big. Matching everything. The matching console, mirror, lamp, and hardware that all came from the same collection at the same store. It's cohesive in a way that actually reads as lazy. Your entryway ends up looking like a page from a catalog rather than a space someone actually curated. Real homes with personality are collected over time. The most interesting entryways mix materials, finishes, and sources. A Benjamin vintage mirror next to a modern console. A brass lamp with oil-rubbed bronze hardware. These combinations feel lived in and intentional in a way that matching sets never do. The phrase designers use now is coordinated, not matched. Your pieces should relate to each other through color story, scale, or style, but they shouldn't look like they were purchased as a set. Mix your metals. Pair antique with modern. Let your entryway tell a story about your taste, rather than your ability to click add to cart on a matching collection. If you made it this far, you're clearly serious about making your entryway better. So here's my challenge. Look at your entryway with fresh eyes when you get home today. Which of these trends does your space still have? And which one would make the biggest difference if you fixed it? The entryway is just one room, but it's the room that sets the expectation for everything that comes after. It tells guests who lives here and how much thought went into creating this home. The trends I've talked about today all started with good intentions, but they've become so overused that they now communicate the opposite of what you want. They say, I follow the crowd. The best entryways in 2026 won't follow formulas. They'll feel specific, personal, like they could only belong to the person who lives there. That's the goal. Not perfection, authenticity. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.